It's time to step behind the scenes and take a closer look at the Owen Sound Attack. This is Bear Tracker Weekly. Here's your host, JC Coots.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Bear Tracker Weekly podcast, the Off-Season Chronicles. And they continue. It's been less than a week since we talked last. We had that big press conference at the Harry Lumley Bayshore on Friday going into the long weekend to officially meet Tyler Nather. He is the new governor and president of the Owen Sound Attack. Well, today, Tyler, it was his turn to host a press conference and introduce his first big hire, and that is the new coach of the Owen Sound Attack, a guy by the name of Keenan Reynolds. Welcome to Owen Sound, Keenan. Welcome back. I guess technically I should say welcome back, because Keenan didn't play a lot of games, like a huge career in the Ontario Hockey League, but he did play for the Attack, so he had a little bit of kind of a homecoming today, I guess you could say. There were fans who remembered him. His billet parents from back in the day were here. Not that that day was far back in history. I saw a Reynolds jersey in the crowd today, so he clearly was remembered and has been welcomed back with very big open arms. As there was a lot of excitement at the Bayshore today in meeting Keenan. And also hearing a little bit more from Tyler and having the two of them answering questions. I know that was another big thing from the previous press conference we had here, was that it was closed. The questions were all pre-moderated in advance. Now, from an Attack media perspective, I can tell you that, we were a little upset that we weren't going to get to ask questions on the day of. We kind of recognize the reason why. Outsiders buying an OHL team, we've got a PR company involved, they're trying to keep everything on message, and that's fine. That can be the rule for day one, but that can't be the rule moving forward. So we were a little upset, but not ticked off as media. But you, as fans, thank you to you. You guys said everything you needed to for us. We didn't have to say a thing. Trust me, it was acknowledged by Tyler Nather today that, they could be a little bit more open and transparent at that meeting. I understand why it wasn't, but definitely today we were right back to what we are accustomed to in Owen Sound, and that is fans get to ask questions, whatever questions they want to ask in front, and it's an open process, and that's exactly what it was today. And so that's what it will be moving forward. So we're nothing to worry about there. But great to hear these two gentlemen sit down and actually get to articulate to the fans and really to the Ontario Hockey League and the hockey world why these two young guys are the right fit to run this team moving forward. And I have to tell you, I've seen and heard from a lot of people in the hockey world in my lifetime, and I have no concerns. There were no red flags for me hearing the two of them, Tyler and Keenan, interact with the fans and answer their questions, getting a chance to talk to them both privately afterwards, and also, of course, on this podcast. Yes, one-on-one interviews with both Tyler Nather and Keenan Reynolds are coming up, so stay tuned for that. So it was great to talk to them both, and again, no red flags. They just are two really bright young guys who obviously see the world and the game a little bit differently. It's clearly been noticed by people more experienced and older than them in the hockey world, and those powers that be have gone, yep, these are the right two guys. So kind of excited to see where it's all going to go from here. But that's just a little bit of my thoughts on the whole situation. You, I think, will probably find that maybe a few more questions that were unanswered after last Friday's press conference to introduce Tyler, maybe those have now been answered a little bit, and maybe you now feel a little better moving forward for Owen Sound Attack fans. I can tell you today was once again another very packed event. We were in the smaller room at the Bayshore today. Probably could have been in the larger room like on Friday, the shore room. Yeah, that it was every seat was taken there. It was standing room only, which was great to see. Also good to see in attendance was one of the players. Now, again, not expecting the players to be at these types of events because they're teenagers. They want to go home for the summer. They probably have off-season plans that they want to work on and get stronger at. So I can totally see why a lot of them, if they're not from here, wouldn't make the trip here. But Elliot Arnott was there today, and that was acknowledged by Tyler and by Keenan, the new head coach. So it was nice to see Elliot today. Also nice to see Brandon Shaw in the room because Brandon Shaw is still a part of this team, still on the bench as an assistant coach, and will be next year, now serving under the new coach, Keenan Reynolds. So Brandon Shaw was there today. It was good to see him. Now, of course, that does mean, and we know officially now, that there are two coaches who are not returning. That would be head coach Scott Ray and assistant coach Regan O'Grady. They do move on, and it actually, they were acknowledged by Keenan when I got to interview him. That's coming up later on, so you'll be able to hear him make some really nice comments about the two outgoing coaches. But I'll say, too, I've gotten I don't know them both well away from the rink. I do like to leave a little bit of separation in some of these hockey relationships. But I've been doing this podcast for 2 years now. In those 2 years, they've been the only head coach and assistant coach that I've seen working professionally with. And I have always been appreciative of the fact that they always gave me time whenever I asked for an interview. They never turned me down, even when they weren't in great moods. After some of those lopsided losses this past season, they still took the time when I asked, and I will always appreciate that for them and respect them for that. And I wish them all the best. I know what it's like when you're in a industry, radio and media and sports, they're all kind of a little bit of the same in some regards. Like, yes, it is a performance-based industry. If you're not doing well, then you're probably going to get replaced. And a lot of that means, much like media jobs, they're not just all around you in the place that you live in. You usually have to uproot your life and move if you want to get another one. So I also recognize that is something that both of these guys and their families, Regan and Scott, are now going to have to do. And it's change, and it's tough. You do sign up for it. You understand that when you sign up for the gig, but it's not easy, and it sucks when you're the one that's being let go. So I get it. I understand that from their perspective. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I do know that bright days are ahead for both those guys. They'll do well. Hopefully they keep at it, and it's just another learning experience, and you'll be better for it in the end. So best of luck to Regan and Scott moving on. Brandon Shaw still on the bench. I know there's another name that you're probably thinking right now, and that name is Dale DeGray. So that question was asked today. I didn't directly ask it in the one-on-one interviews just because I thought Tyler had addressed it in the town hall, that they're still making decisions on management. Now, those decisions I do not believe are whether or not they're keeping Dale DeGray. Based on everything that we have heard as media, Dale DeGray is not with the Owen Sound Attack anymore. Now, that's not official. The team hasn't stepped out and said that specifically. But everything that we have learned to this point indicates that he is not there. And I think the bigger thing right now that probably the Attack are trying to figure out is, will Tyler carry part or all of those duties, or will that go to someone else that they will bring in new? I think that's part of what's being figured out right now. But all indications are, as media, that Dale is not there anymore. He's no longer part of the team, and if anything, he is probably part of the Niagara Ice Dogs. More to come on that. We don't have anything official to announce today, and I'm really not digging through Niagara Ice Dogs' internal stuff right now. I'm more focused on who's with the Attack for next year. Doesn't appear to be Dale. So, again, I'll say the same things I just said about Regan and Scott. Dale was great to us as media. always took the time, would talk to us, would sometimes share things with us that we couldn't share with you, which we appreciate about, but it certainly gave us a better idea of, some of the thinking behind the decision-making that he had. So yeah, again, Dale, good hockey guy, smart hockey guy, great career as a player. I think a pretty good career in the Ontario Hockey League in the management role. I mean, the team made the playoffs for 15 straight years. So, yeah, he's got that to look at and brag about. And, yeah, I don't know how much longer he'll be in this game. I wonder, he said to us on the podcast before he had 2 years left on his deal. And was he going to retire after that? I don't know. He's certainly had a long career, so he's probably at that point where he might want to retire, but by the sounds of it, he still has a few more years left, and I think he still wants to work in the game. So hopefully Dale can go out on his terms, but it's not going to be with the Owen Sound Attack. So again, not a big thing that was talked about at length today, simply because that was not today's announcement. Today's announcement was get to know the new head coach, and that is Keenan Reynolds. So I'm going to play for you on the podcast today the entire press conference, just in case you missed it or wanted to hear some of the questions and interactions between the fans and Tyler and Keenan. I'm going to play the whole thing for you. If you attended today, and based on the amount of people who are there, there's a good chance you probably did. If you attended today, or you feel as though you don't need to hear the press conference part, it's about 42 minutes long, so you can just skip ahead in the podcast. But we'll have the press conference in its entirety first. Then we'll talk to Tyler. You'll get to hear more from Tyler Nather. And then a one-on-one interview at the end of the podcast with the new head coach, Keenan Reynolds, which was also kind of cool, by the way. I went over to introduce myself to Keenan, and I didn't know this, but I apparently know his brother. So it's the first thing he said to me. He's like, "Oh, you probably know my brother. He went to Algonquin College for radio." And I just uttered, I said, "David?" Yes, David Reynolds is Keenan's brother. David obviously did not become a high-level hockey player, and from as far as I can tell, has not become an OHL coach either. But his brother David does work with his dad, actually, which is kind of cool. So we'll learn more about the Reynolds family later on. But I was rooting for him before. Now I'm really rooting for him, now that we have that kind of really cool connection from the Ottawa area. So you're going to get to hear from these guys, and I don't think I'll take up any more time. I'll let them do the rest of the talking. So here it is first, the press conference from Wednesday, May 20th, introducing the new Attack head coach, Keenan Reynolds.
I know that this is something where when we took over, we wanted to obviously look at the organization and start to understand where we were going, and this is a really exciting time for us as a team, as an ownership group. I think, I want to thank everybody for coming here today. First off, I just want to address yesterday's announcement regarding Scott Ray and Regan O'Grady. On behalf of the Owen Sound Attack, I want to thank Scott and Regan for everything that they gave, their commitment and contributions to our organization and community. Really just want to wish them all the best as they move on to their next steps. On a separate note, like I said, today's a really exciting day, and we're very excited to introduce our new head coach of the Owen Sound Attack, Keenan Reynolds. When we began this search, really what we had was a very clear vision for who we wanted to come in here and work with our young players. As I said in the last press conference, we want to be a development system for the National Hockey League. We want our players to move on to the National Hockey League. We want Owen Sound to have lots of players to cheer for in the NHL one day, and I think that that's something that starts with our coach. So we also want to be a development system for coaches, and really what we wanted to look for is an elite communicator, somebody who understands today's OHL player and brings a strong background in skill development and really shares our player development philosophy that we have and is widely respected as an up-and-coming coach. So for us, Keenan checks every single one of those boxes. Keenan brings strong experience as a skill development coach, and that's really shaped how he connects with players and helps them improve. The amount of comments that I've gotten even in this short amount of time since he was announced has been overwhelming from past clients and from players around the league, just giving congratulations to Keenan. So we're very excited about all of this. And through the process, it's just very clear that Keenan has a very strong vision for how he wants the Owen Sound Attack to play, which is very important to us as an ownership group, but also important to you guys as the fans, which I had a chance to speak to a lot of you after the last press conference and definitely took that feedback into consideration. So Keenan's coaching is really centered around ecological dynamics, which obviously aligns with how we see player development moving forward. Lots of emphasis on skill development, small area games, constraint-based learning. Like that's what we view is going to be really impactful to get our players ready to take that next step, and really in the immediate future to get ready to compete and take steps towards an OHL championship. So with that being said, Keenan's extensive knowledge in the OHL as well, with being an assistant coach there with the Erie Otters and spending time with Acadie Bathurst in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Very, very exciting for us. So we're very excited for what Keenan's going to do in leading our team. So would ask everybody to please join me in welcoming Keenan Reynolds as the new head coach of the Owen Sound Attack. Thank you.
Wouldn't be the first time I've put that jersey on. First, a round of applause for Tyler. What an amazing job he did at that introductory press conference. It's an amazing day. I'm so humbled. I'm so grateful. There's so many familiar faces here. 12 years ago, I entered this organization as a young boy who, quite frankly, didn't really know all that much about junior hockey. And over the past 12 years, there's been a lot of adversity. It's been a roller coaster, but that's life. And I think, if anything today, you guys are going to know that the Owen Sound Attack next year are going to be emotionally resilient. There's going to be a safe environment for our players not only to develop as athletes, as students, but also as future outstanding citizens in our community. Which is why, once again, I think Tyler Nather is the perfect president and governor, because he is exemplary as someone that stands for the values that this organization is going to live by going forwards. Those being teamwork, being team first, being someone who carries themselves with integrity, someone who embodies the growth mindset, trying to get a little bit better every single day, and acknowledging that along that process there's going to be hurdles, there's going to be setbacks, but that's the key variable, right, in developing yourself as a human being. And then lastly, something that's been a buzzword I've heard a lot is accountability. And I think accountability isn't just to yourself, but it's to your teammates, it's to the great community of Grey Bruce, right? And it's to this league and this platform that we have to develop young athletes, as Tyler said, not only the next NHL stars, but your doctors, your lawyers, your teachers, your bus drivers. And that's the type of environment I'm going to create every single day going forwards for this franchise. And let me be clear, I'll state my goals openly, and I wrote them down because I wanted to make sure we're all on the same page here. I want the Owen Sound Attack to be recognized as one of the premier development organizations in Canadian junior hockey, period. I want to create an environment where players are pushed to reach their full potential, and where families, and this is very important to me, know their sons will be cared for, challenged, and prepared not only for life within hockey, but for life after hockey, okay? That's a promise for me. I want this team to earn the respect and admiration of the Grey Bruce community every single day through the way we compete, the way we carry ourselves, and the pride that we have to pull on the Owen Sound Attack jersey. As an alumni, I'm keenly aware that our fans not only are the best in the CHL, I'm sure there's going to be questions about Tyler and I's relationship. As a former London Knight, it was icy for a while. but he looks pretty good in black, red, and white. When this building here is full and rocking, I fundamentally believe is the hardest place to play in our league. Tyler is going to do a great job leveraging all the assets that we have in this organization to bring as many people out to spend your hard-earned money to support this team. There are very few environments in junior hockey that can produce the amount of excitement that you guys do. Our home record next year is going to be a priority for us. When teams come into the Bayshore, they better be ready to bring their work boots. That's a promise. And ultimately, our mission with this team is simple, all right? We want to build a team and culture capable of bringing an OHL championship back to Owen Sound. End of sentence. Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Keenan. All right, so anyone have some questions? Anyone?
Yeah, we heard that there were a lot of questions that weren't answered last press conference, so let's be forthright here. This organization is going to be all about transparency going forwards, and I saw a tweet that said they want to take the gloves off. I don't know if we want to do that right now. Tyler and I are still in pretty good shape. We got Elliot Arnett in the back over there who can defend us too, but we're really excited to answer some questions here from you guys on the future of this organization. 100% we are. We've already began vetting candidates. As you know, coaching in this league is an honor and a privilege. We've had an outpouring of people interested in it. And once again, the values that I mentioned earlier are going to be the tenets of this process as Tyler and I work through it. Before you guys ask questions, can I get your name as well, just so there's a little connection as well? That's more of a hockey operations question. I might let Tyler answer that. But the one thing I will say to you is you've been a season ticket holder for a very long time. Season ticket holders are so important to us. We're going to be doing a lot in the community this year, not only with our season ticket holders, but trying to engage the next generation of Attack fans going into schools, being very present, and supporting this organization from a hockey ops perspective, whether that's recruiting, whether that's scouting, and whether that's building a team, is something that we're really prioritizing as we go through these next couple months. Tyler?
Yeah, from a hockey ops standpoint, I think as we mentioned before, we're working through that process right now. So obviously there's questions about general management position right now. I think, as I said, we're still working through that process to go through it. When it comes to the scouting staff, obviously the scouts have worked extremely hard this year, so we're going to be relying on them and having conversations as we work through and really figure out what the direction is going to be for the Owen Sound Attack here. But as a addition to that, the 2010 birth year, especially with the upcoming OHL Draft in the agency business, players are evaluated at a really young age. So I'm very keen and know the players that are coming through the 2010 birth year and have lots of contacts from my former role as an agent with Newport Sports, and I've gotten to know a lot of the other agents for our players. So we'll be obviously relying on their opinion, but also from years of scouting them for the last few years, and obviously our scouts. So that's going to be our process moving forward, and we'll have more updates on other hockey ops decisions soon.
Before we get to Tracy, Evan's going to come around with a mic just so we can all hear the questions. So anyone after Tracy? Questions? Okay, you're going to be next. Tracy, you're up.
Look at that jersey on Tracy, eh? Wow, that's amazing. That thing could sell for tens of dollars on eBay for sure.
So welcome back, Keenan. Nice to see
Tracy.
you. I'm thinking you're not going to have a lot of golf time this summer.
Probably not, but the courses here are amazing.
They are. What's your first priority? Like, what are you going to be really busy with in the next, month, two, and so on?
Yeah, it's an incredibly important question. I think going forward, this organization is going to be very process-based, making decisions, not using our emotions, but being intentional about everything that we do. Tyler said it last press conference, the player experience and speaking to the players is the first thing on my agenda. He mentioned the way that I like to coach. I build meaningful relationships with my players. As a younger coach, some people might look at my age and be a little wary, be a little skeptical of that. The one thing I've heard a lot of from older members of the hockey community is you just can't reach these kids anymore. And to that I say, well, I can. It's why I've been fortunate to enjoy the trajectory I have so far in my career. I'm going to speak to these kids. I'm going to make sure, A, we're aligned on the future of this franchise. B, we're going to make sure that all issues, good and bad, that transpired either last year or concerns regarding the future are addressed. And then lastly, we're going to make sure that they have a developmental plan in place not only for the summer, leveraging the agent communication, NHL teams, whether they've been drafted or not, to make sure that everyone comes back not only empowered to know they're going to have a big role in this team, but they know exactly what they need to do to come in and take ice time away from their teammates. I think that's a really important point. Internal competition at this level is very important. It has to be a safe environment. It has to be an environment where players are empowered to be themselves and be authentic. But at the end of the day, this is the premier development league for the NHL. And competitiveness will be a premium next year. It will be a premium, and players that don't fit in to that billing probably won't be a member of our organization for very long going forwards.
Hi, I'm Emrys. So last couple of years we've been focusing mostly on like younger players, like rookies and second years. And I remember seeing like a stat one time we had like 10 17-year-olds playing versus Niagara. Are we going to cater towards the players that have been part of this organization for like 3 years or so? Or are we going to keep with the youth?
It's a very good question, first of all. Might have to hire you in a couple of years. The hardest question so far is coming from you, so I appreciate it. You're front and center looking me in the eye. I think it's a balance, right? I think you never want to put your eggs in one basket. Obviously, it's more of a management and roster construction. My job is to make sure that the environment every single day for the players that are on our team, once again, is safe, competitive, and non-sibby is a Latin term, which basically means not for oneself. It's often been attributed to military organizations. I know the Meaford Army base is just down the road. I would never compare a junior hockey team to a military unit. The sacrifices and the consequences of being in the military are much higher than chasing a dream. But at the same time, I think we can learn from our military service members and understand that in order to accomplish something great, it always has to be about the team, about the collective. So long as the young players and the old players have that mentality and they're ready to come in, have fun, get better every single day, and wear the jersey with pride, they'll all have a spot on the Owen Sound Attack.
Hi there, Terry Ann. First question is, what is your plan to reach the players? And secondly, what are your plans to foster and rebuild morale within these young men? Because we've all seen the morale die, and the spirit is quite low right now for these guys.
Doesn't feel like it in this room.
No, well, the fans are behind them 100%. But we've seen the players come out on a high and then dwindle by October. So we know that something has been drastically ill fit, and that there are some drastic measures that need to be taken to rebuild the morale with these young men. If you speak to them, we know that they're amazing young men. We know that, and to see them, to see their esteem and their morale dive, is heartbreaking for me. And I don't think you can play to your best ability with a broken heart.
I'll let Keenan touch on from a coach's standpoint, after. But from my standpoint, I've started to reach out to every single one of our players' agents and obviously the players themselves. Yesterday we had a great opportunity to have lunch with our captain and a very celebrated player. After every time he scores, when I was here, I would hear you guys chant "Bowie." So very, very exciting to meet with Pearson and a great young leader. And I think one of those things that Keenan and I have talked about is with this hire, it's to be connected. And I think that as we're going through this process, there seems like there may have been a slight disconnect on certain things. So our biggest intention is to have a connected group. So that starts with management, that starts with front office. It goes to our coaches. Notice I didn't say it goes down, because I think everybody's on the same playing field. Our players are extremely important. Like I said in the press conference, they're the reason that we all have jobs and we're able to be here. I think players are going to know that. Obviously, that's something that's very important to us. Keenan and I were both players in the Ontario Hockey League. We know what it's like to feel special. We know what it's like to feel appreciated coming to the rink and having that energy. That's not to say that over 68 games of a season there's going to be ups and downs. I think that that's something that players will go through. And in any development process, I think you're going to have the highs and the lows that you have to go through. But the one thing that stays constant is just our commitment to the players on wanting them to feel respected and feel like they are appreciated for what they're doing. And it's our job to push them to be better. So there's definitely going to be an emphasis on that. We're going to work extremely hard. I think that's something that fundamentally I believe in as leading this organization. And with the appointment of Keenan, I know that we're aligned on that. The players are going to work hard, but the players are going to feel like there's somebody that cares and respects for them. That started with our conversation with our captain, Pierce Bowie, that we had yesterday. Like I said, I can't say enough good things about Pierce Bowie, and I'm excited to have the ability to speak to the rest of our roster. Obviously, with everything that's went on, and I've been up here twice now in short order, I'm really excited to speak to the rest of our group, because it's important for us to get every single person's perspective, not just our captain, but it seemed like the logical place to start before this press conference. And what we really want to do is expand on the good work that was done here, address the issues, and move forward, and really have a group that comes to training camp excited and connected. And I think that's a lot of the work that we have ahead of us over the summer, is to make some adjustments, make some changes, but really have this group back here and excited and ready to go. As Keenan mentioned, I can feel the energy here today. I felt it the first time that I came up, and I can't stress enough how excited we are to get going very quickly in September, and for training camp to get here, and all the players that we're going to welcome into the Owen Sound Attack community, starting with the draft that'll happen shortly here. So just to address your question from a management standpoint, that's how we're going to make sure that the players are excited and ready to come back. But I'll let Keenan touch on it from a coaching standpoint.
Talk about a tough act to follow. First, I just want to recognize the question. It comes from the right place. I think oftentimes we forget that these are kids, right? And I went through it. I came to Owen Sound at 16, and I had illusions of grandeur, and it didn't work out for me. So I think as much as this is a profession, it's also a bit of a calling. The fact that I'm back in Owen Sound feels scripted a little bit. I'm so thankful to be here. As a coach, I mean, the power play, your neutral zone forecheck, at a certain point, it matters, but what really matters is making sure that this group of kids is all bought into a shared vision. And once again, when they wake up in the morning, they're just excited to come to the rink. And so long as I get that done, our coaching staff, including Brandon Shaw, who's in the room right now, is tremendously capable. We're going to have them prepared. There's no doubt about that. But ultimately, I think it really starts with waking up with joy. Waking up and understanding, you know what, I have an opportunity to come to the rink, hang out with 20 of my best friends, get better, and then after they leave the rink, enjoy the Owen Sound community, because it is beautiful here. And my old billet family's here. I think the billet relationship is very important with that. We're going to make sure that the billets are aligned on if there's any issues, whether it's at school, whether it's in the community, or whether a player's just not having a great time and they need someone to be there for them, that will be addressed. And once again, I just want to say thank you for asking that question, because I can tell how much you care about these kids, and I promise you, I'm here because Tyler knows I care about these kids as much as you do.
Rob?
Good afternoon, and welcome, Keenan, Tyler. My name is Rob. I've been a fan following the team since 1989. in seasons past, we've had lots of trouble trying to land our Europeans here. What is the team going to do moving forward to try to bring these elite players back to Owen Sound and wanting to play for Owen Sound?
Yeah, it's a great question, and thanks, Rob. From our perspective with the European players, obviously, they're important pieces in the changing landscape of what's happening now with junior hockey. So our approach with that is going to be similar to the players that we see on our team right now. It's having conversations with their respective camps and starting to build that trust and having a very clear vision for how they're going to improve here. I think that's what we've talked about before, is being a development organization, somewhere where players, families, agents, they want to come to Owen Sound because they understand that there's a great coach that cares about the individual, wants them to get better. We'll talk to them and have individual communication plans and development plans, and I think that that's something that is very important. I think it also comes down to the style of hockey that you want to play. I think we want to attack. I think that that's obviously goes without saying, and it's in the name, but it's truly core to Keenan's philosophy and how he wants our team to play and how he wants to coach. So I think that style usually attracts players that like to play hockey and generate offense, and that's something that we want to put an exciting product on the ice for the fans to come and watch. So I think for our process right now, it's obviously with the import draft coming up, it's having those conversations. It's also a matter of recruiting players that have been selected in the import draft prior, and then it's really over the course of time here in the years to come, it's making sure that we have an environment that becomes the standard in the OHL and somewhere that Europeans want to come and play in Owen Sound, because it's an exciting place. It's a very safe place to come here at Owen Sound, and the fans are great, and there's great support here. I think it will hopefully at some point become a very obvious choice for players and have players excited to come to Owen Sound. So that's going to be our approach when it comes to European players in the import draft.
Yeah, I mean, in my time in Owen Sound, we had guys like Patrice Palmu, fan favorite, Damir Shripsianov. Yeah, give some claps. I think bringing in Europeans in this new landscape, as Tyler said, is going to be very important. They have to be the right ones. It has to make sense based on the spots available on the roster, but it's definitely going to be a priority moving forward.
Oh, sorry. My name is Pete.
Good to see you again, Pete.
My name's Keenan.
Hi, Keenan. I remember you, Keenan. I just wondered if you, I know it's early days, Tyler, if you have had any thoughts about a possible affiliate team. I know in past we've had young guys come on the team and really didn't benefit because they didn't get much ice time. You could see they had a lot of potential there, and in some cases they ended up moving on, and we just never saw their potential here in Owen Sound. And I think, I believe the OHL now has some kind of an agreement with the GOHL, and I wonder if there's any thoughts on that happening.
Yeah, the leader of the GOHL, Craig Spada, has done unbelievable things with the organization there. The partnership that exists now between the OHL and the GOHL, it's been fantastic. I really applaud the GOHL and the OHL for having that partnership. As I said before, my past career as a player agent, I've had players that were 16 years old and have went and played in that league, and they've went on to be very successful going forward. So I think from the firsthand experience that I've seen that, I think a lot of it comes down to the messaging for players and for families. So there's obviously, in hockey, everybody wants to get to the highest level as quickly as possible, but understanding that every player is at a different spot in their development path. So I think just being very intentional with the messaging that you're providing to players and families to have them understand exactly what the plan is for each player. I think playing the GOHL allows players to likely play more minutes as a young player than playing full-time in the OHL. There's obviously exceptions to that, and some are able to step in right away, but I think that that's something where I think I can speak from firsthand experience on my time with the team. I know, Pete, that you give me a hard time about the London Knights. With my time, I feel like
As
that,
he should.
Yes. I feel like that would have been, good for my development. So it's something I've been a big proponent of. I know Keenan has talked about that as well. So I think we're very aware of players' development paths and what makes sense, and being very cautious of ensuring that those players aren't in a situation where they're not playing and they need to feel excited. And at some times those are difficult. They feel like in some sense it's a demotion, but realistically it's actually a promotion in the amount of ice time that they're going to get and be great players. I think that there's going through, the players that I've seen so far that have been drafted to Owen Sound, like Alexander Lisi is a great example of a player who had an outstanding year this year in the GOHL. And I think if you were to ask that player, and I haven't had the chance to do that yet, I think that he would say it was a great choice for him to do that and for his family. So in terms of having an official partnership with a GOHL organization, and the other thing that I would also say is I think the Collingwood Blues do an exceptional job, and their ability to operate in the OJHL and obviously proximity and their history of being a successful franchise. I think we're going to be very thoughtful on the type of partnership that we want to have. And I think we want to make sure that we have the maximum amount of resources for our players, because like I said earlier, every player is at a different spot in their development journey. Our job is to identify that, clearly communicate it to a player and their family and their representatives, and have them excited so that when they are a full-time player with the Owen Sound Attack, they're ready to come in and contribute meaningfully and feel respected. So that's our goal. And tying it back to the original question of the partnership, that's how we feel about it.
That felt targeted because of my experience in Owen Sound. I didn't play a lot at 16. I'm not going to run away from it. Like, it's the reality of the situation. Would I have maybe benefited from not playing with this team at 16? Maybe, but ultimately I believe it's brought me to this moment. So from a personal standpoint, I really think that looking at other guys that were drafted in my draft class in particular, 2014, guys like Victor Mete, who went to the London Knights, and then guys like Jonah Gadjevich, Kevin Hancock, Sean Dursey, foundational pillars for this franchise. Gadjevich, you guys know his nickname, right? The man-child. Two-time Stanley Cup winner, Jonah Gadjevich. Round of applause for him and everything he's done. He's also a great father, great husband. I'm so happy for everything he's been able to accomplish. But he was a guy who was ready to play at 16. And myself, I probably need a little bit more seasoning. So it's a case-by-case basis. I think that's Tyler's job and my job to make sure that every single player and their development path, once again, is being individualized with their trajectory in mind. If it makes sense to have them in the OHL at 16, they're going to play minutes. There's no point in having a 16-year-old on the team that doesn't play minutes. I think that year is so crucial for development. And going forwards, once again, that's going to be something we're going to be talking about with families, where there's no point in being on this roster if you're not going to play. We can assign you to an organization that we trust with their development, that we build a great partnership with, and then they step into the Attack organization ready to play meaningful minutes.
Hi there, my name's Mike. You probably recognise me.
Of course. I couldn't forget the accent. Come on now.
I have so many young lads come into my penalty box. And at 16 years old, they were the all-star of the previous team.
Right.
And I do try to encourage them to be patient. That they have to look at learning what's going on and all that. So I don't know how we as fans can help them, young people, to encourage them, because it's not easy to leave mum and dad and brothers and sisters, as you already know. So, and also, we do not get to know some of the parents. I'm saying, I would love to know some of the parents of some of these young fellas, so I can talk to them, So I don't know how the club is going to try to encourage these young people more. Don't give up, just be patient.
Yeah, I mean, for the people in this room, you might remember my mom. She ripped around the concourse all the time, and made amazing relationships with a lot of people in this community. Dr. Bob, I see you laughing back there. Since she's been on Jeopardy twice, just a little update from my mom. Very proud of her. She's graduating from university next month as well. Shout out to Mom. But I think the parents are very important. Again, the Billett family with mine here in the front row from when I was a Attack player. It's all about making sure that they're supported, right? We're going to have a staff that, once again, is built around supporting the player, empowering the player. And one thing I remember was even when I wasn't in the lineup here, I always felt like an NHL player. I'd have kids coming up, be like, "Oh, do you play for the Attack?" And I would be like, "Yeah, kind of, sometimes, you know." Yeah, I'm Jonah Gadris. Nice to meet you. But I think continuing to make that a priority for you guys, the fans. A lot of people, it's funny. People have said in the past we have trouble bringing people into Owen Sound, but it seems like most people that I meet that actually come to Owen Sound, they get to experience life on the water. They get to meet the people in the community. They fall in love with it like I did. So the branding of this franchise going forwards, I know it's a destination where people want to come spend time. And we're going to be making sure that everyone that is a possible addition to our franchise moving forwards knows how amazing and transformational Owen Sound can be to develop as a young athlete. So to answer your question, the well-being of our players, mental, physical, emotional, is of a top priority, and we're going to make sure that it always stays that way.
Hi, I'm Chuck. Tyler, I guess this is for you as well. You've kind of alluded to the GM side, but I just want to get your take with the draft coming up right now. The cupboards are full with draft picks. You got a very good inventory. I just want to get your sense of what you want to do with that, how your vision saw that going out this coming draft as well in Kingston, and then moving forward with players, acquisitions, who you want to scout, how you want to build your brand, put your product on the ice.
Yeah, I think as Keenan alluded to, we want to be very connected in our approach. So I think with the players that we're looking to bring back, we obviously have a very solid group of elite players in the league that are trending more towards the older side now. So that's very exciting. We've got really good young players that are coming through. You obviously look at the roster last year and the young players that can meaningfully contribute this year. So I think that's very exciting for us. Obviously, as I'd mentioned, the organization's in a great spot when it comes to draft capital. The excellent job has been done on that front. So I think that's all very exciting. Very big proponent of allowing the group to kind of show itself and what's needed. I think that there's obviously some areas that have to get addressed over the summer here. I'm working on getting through that process right now. But I think when it comes to additions and any decisions like that, it's going to come from our hockey operations department. Very close consideration with our head coach, Keenan Reynolds, Brandon Shaw, as well as the next coach that Keenan and Brandon are working to look to hire right now, along with myself. So I think having a very clear plan with communication with our coaches is going to allow us to do that. I think as we get in and start playing games, those things start to show themselves. And obviously things change with players coming back from college or staying in college. So I think that it's a changing landscape for sure. And I think that we're well positioned to address it. So we're working tirelessly right now to make the appropriate changes. And I think, the Owen Sound Attack fans will be really excited with what we do going forward here. So those are the comments that kind of have right now.
Well, we've been going for a little while here. Are we out of questions? Uh-oh.
I know we'll have...
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, hey, guys, I'm Greg. I work with the Sun-Times. I know we'll have the opportunity to speak with you after, but I figured after making such a stink last week, I might as well ask a few here. Tyler, sincerely thank you for keeping these town halls going. I'm sure you've already experienced the fans ask way better questions than the media do, so you're doing okay. And welcome back to Owen Sound, Keenan.
Yeah, thank you. Really excited.
Keenan, I wanted to ask you, since you met with Pierce Bowie yesterday, and maybe this is for Tyler too, at the end of the season he wasn't sure if he was coming back or not. Have you received a commitment that way?
We have. Very exciting. Obviously, Penn State is a top program in the NCAA Division I landscape. I happen to have very strong connections to Penn State, as well as a ton of the top organizations across that conference. I think it's really important to recognize the changing landscape in this league. The era of having dominant 19-year-olds is probably a way of the past, just based on what we've seen over these past couple of years. But at the same time, a word that I've heard a lot of over the past couple of days is modernize. And I think our approach is going to be one in which each player, once again, is individualized, but also we're building relationships with D1 teams. It's not going to be antagonistic. It's going to be collaborative, because Owen Sound is going to play a vital step in their development. And we're looking to develop players for all levels, not only the NHL, but also other pro leagues across the world and collegiate levels.
And sorry, just to build off that, I think as we've mentioned before, every player's at their own step in their development path. So I think that there's going to be even more of an emphasis now on drafting the right players as you go through the draft. There's going to be some players that show up in our league now at 18 years old, and those will be the 18, 19, 20-year-olds. There's going to be exceptional young players that come in, and maybe they're only for 16, 17, 18. Obviously, like, that's something that we have to adapt to. I think being able to have clear communication, as Keenan mentioned his connections with the NCAA programs, I have the same, obviously, from my past role. So I think building a layer of trust where schools actually want to send their players that are committed there to Owen Sound, and they're very excited about that, and we start to build that relationship. So I think it's very critical to do that, and then I think just to inform our strategy on how to address that, it's really just to identify players that are at different stages in their development path, and I think that's really going to allow us to have the player that might not be ready at 16 and sometimes maybe 17, but they show up at 18 years old, and they've done exceptionally well, and they can turn into impact players that become fan favorites, and then at the end of their time in the Ontario Hockey League, if they do a great job, then if we graduate them, maybe not to the National Hockey League, but if they go to a great Division I program, or they continue on with the great partnership the OHL has with U Sports here in Canada, that's going to be celebrated as well. So that's just the way that we're looking at it. And yes, very, very excited to hear lots of buoy chants this year.
All right, thanks for answering that. I'm hoping I can ask one more, if that's okay. Just to address the elephant that's not in the room here, I'm wondering if you can touch on Dale DeGray's status currently, and if you, in fact, are going to be stepping in as the general manager for the draft, at least, if not long-term.
I appreciate the question, but at the same time, we're working through the hockey operations section of the franchise right now, and we're having discussions with everybody in our hockey operations department to figure out what the next steps are. So, as I said, no further comment now, but that's all that we'll have at this time.
All right, thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
Well, we've done about 40 minutes. Do we have any more questions before we let them off the hook a little bit today?
I think maybe just one last thing, Greg. Yeah. We're very excited about this hire with Keenan Reynolds. I think it's a testament to the fans that have been here in Owen Sound, the way that you guys have supported a young player to go through this league and then obviously go and achieve great things academically and come back as a coach. And I think what hopefully you've heard here today is our philosophy on really wanting to do the best thing for these young players as they go forward. It's a very exciting time. There's lots of changes that exist. I think we're very well positioned to address them. We're very excited with the appointment of Keenan Reynolds as our new head coach, and we feel that under his leadership with our players and all the work that we're going to do here in the summer, it's going to be very exciting, and we can't wait to see everybody here at the Bayshore in September. So thank you all for coming, and I really appreciate it, and go Attack, go.
So last week, unfortunately, the one thing we didn't get to do was have a one-on-one interview with Tyler Nather, because I think we all wanted to learn a little bit more about Tyler, but obviously it was kind of a closed-off access, we'll say, for the media last Friday. That situation obviously much, much different moving forward, so you will hear probably more of Tyler this year for sure. I'm going to say not too much, because, I mean, even if Tyler does take on the general manager duties, I won't bug him too much other than about the amount of times I bugged Dale DeGray, just around the start of the season, middle of the season, kind of how are things going, obviously trade deadline stuff, and more so leave it up to the coaches for the rest of the year. But depending on how visible Tyler is on a day-to-day basis with his team moving forward, or how behind the scenes he needs to be, we'll figure that out, and we'll have him on as often as it makes sense. But I get the feeling from him that he's always available if we come calling. So here's my conversation with the new governor and president of the Owen Sound Attack. This is Tyler Nather. First off, everybody that's on this podcast for the first time gets the same question. 2 questions, I should say. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And what first made you fall in love with hockey?
I'm from Orangeville, Ontario, so just right down the road here. And I think the thing that made me fall in love with hockey was my dad. I've got a great relationship with my dad, and he was the one that would drive me to the rink when I was young, and really appreciated all of that. So, I think like most Canadian hockey players, your parents help you fall in love with it. I had great support from my mom, Brenda, my dad, Mike, my sister, Cassidy, like very, very close family. So my family made me fall in love with it, and really my family is the only reason why I was able to play hockey, and that's what's led to all this. So I can't thank them enough, and very proud to be from Orangeville, Ontario.
Awesome. Well, you've had almost a full week to settle in since you were introduced as the governor and president of the Owen Sound Attack. Let's start, first of all, just with the whirlwind that must have been the last couple of weeks in the behind-the-scenes things that were going on, the negotiations, the talks, and then finally sitting in front of everybody a week ago on Friday, not even a week ago, and introducing yourself. What's that experience been like for you? That must have been one of the craziest, shortest amount of times in your entire life to have all of that just develop and happen.
Yeah, it was obviously a little bit of a whirlwind, but as soon as we got to Owen Sound and we were able to see the fans and all the fan support, it was unbelievable. I think that was something very clear when we went through the process with the Ontario Hockey League, is that Owen Sound was a destination for us, and really something that we were excited about. So it was awesome to get here and see the fans and see their energy, to especially see the turnout that we had here today for the announcement of our new head coach, Keenan Reynolds. Very, very exciting. We can't wait to get going.
I feel like there's so many questions to ask, so I might bounce around a little bit, but I'm going to ask this one first, just based on your background. I think it goes without saying that it's an advantage to be a former player in this game, and I think it's also an advantage to be younger, because then you're speaking the same language as the guys that are playing. I think it's a huge advantage, though, to have that agency, player agent background as well that you have, and we don't see a lot of people with that kind of resume and your age come into this game, so it's kind of all new. How do you think that really puts you in a position where you're going to be successful moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's great to have the experience that I've been able to have. I think coming through this league as a 16-year-old player with the team that everybody doesn't like that I announce as the London Knights, and then my experience with the Windsor Spitfires and being able to win a Memorial Cup with them. It's great experience to have. I think I can't believe it's almost been 10 years, or it's been longer than that since I entered the league way back then. So it's definitely a great experience to be back and helping these young players. I think with the agency experience, you get very comfortable with dealing with families and dealing with players. I think that's something that I fundamentally believe in, is that these are all young men that are coming and trying to chase their dreams. So parents should definitely be a part of that process and understanding what the development path is for their son. I think that they want to know that they're respected and they feel safe, and that their sons are in good hands when they're here. So I think that we have great experienced support staff that are around here in Owen Sound. I think that we have an unbelievable community where they almost have an extension of their own family here when they get to join the Owen Sound Attack. So I think it's really exciting. I think the background and experience that I have lends well to be able to work with these players. And I can't wait to get going. I've had a chance to speak to a number of their agents so far, and I'm still working through that process, but I can't wait to actually start to meet the players. And obviously Elliot Arnett's here today. I'm looking forward to sitting down with him and having a coffee or a water or whatever he wants to have that's going to make him feel the best in his day. So looking forward to getting that going and really excited.
Come into a situation where a lot of times when you come in new and you're in the organization new, you're coming into an organization where things haven't gone well and there's not a lot of draft picks, there's not a lot of talent. It's kind of a bad situation. This is different. There's a lot of good talent here already. Pierce Bowie was mentioned, the captain of the team, during the press conference. You got a lot of draft picks coming up. You got to be pretty excited looking at what you've got to work with going, we can make this thing great pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a great position that I think we're in right now. We're being very thoughtful with the decisions that we want to make going forward. As you mentioned, there's lots of elite players that are going to come back, and our goal with them is to make sure that we maximize the potential of this group and help them realize their goals, which I think for everybody is an OHL championship. So we're going to move forward on that basis, that we want to compete every single night. We want to be hard to play against. I think Keenan Reynolds has a very strong foundation for what he wants to do with this team, and that made him a very logical choice. As you mentioned earlier, having the ability to relate to players and having the open communication but holding players accountable with no judgment. We have a culture of accountability. That's something that is very important to us. And I know from talking to Keenan Reynolds through the interview selection process, he wants to play attacking hockey, so no pun intended on that, but that's the way that he sees our team playing. And I think it'll be very exciting for our players to come back to have Keenan there. He's got some relationships with some players there from his past life and skill development. So I think overwhelmingly it's positive, and today's been a great day for the Owen Sound Attack to announce Keenan Reynolds as our new head coach.
Speaking of Keenan, 2 young guys now are at the helm of this thing, guys that are under the age of 30, and I know some people will look at that and they go, oh, I don't know about that inexperience and that age. And I look at it, having been a guy that was in your position at a young age too, in the radio industry, mind you, where you got a chance to hire people and make decisions. Some people look at that and goes, oh, he's hiring his buddy. I look at that and go, he's hiring someone he knows, he can trust, and is going to work hard, because the decision also falls back on you too at the end of the day. So as for anybody that is weary of the youth situation and the inexperience, this is your opportunity to set them straight, Tyler. Tyler, tell us why that doesn't matter and why it's an advantage for having you 2 guys in charge of the thing here.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest piece of that and everything that we do is process oriented. So there's been a process that's taken place here. My relationship to Keenan Reynolds is one that we missed each other lots of times over the course of the last 10 or 12 years. Keenan was here playing with the Owen Sound Attack. I was with the London Knights. No relationship there, and no love lost certainly when we played against one another. And then I ended up going to the Smith School of Business thanks to the OHL scholarship program. I was able to go and get my MBA, which was fantastic. So I finished there and was in Toronto and was working afterwards. And then Keenan Reynolds actually came through, and Keenan reached out to me because he had the same profs that I had 2 years prior to him. And basically the profs had recommended, like, hey, we know Tyler Nather, he's gone through this process and gone through this program, like it would make sense for you guys to connect. So connected around that time, and ended up, there's obviously lots of similarities in our paths right now, but over the last couple of years, I've been able to see Keenan's passion for coaching and gotten to know him well, and been able to follow his journey when he was in the Quebec Hockey League and was out that way. Shared lots of experiences, as you mentioned, like 2 people that are, I was charting my course as an agent, he was charting his course as a head coach. We shared lots of conversations over late night drives when I was coming home from a game, and probably he was on the front of a bus, and I think just developing a really good sense of what's made him effective as a coach is something that, and I've shared feedback from things that I can see for coaching. So we've always had this relationship of sharing of ideas. I think it's been pretty academic in my interpretation of it, given that Keenan wants to develop and he's self-taught on a lot of things. So I think that that's a huge advantage. He had his experience in the Quebec Hockey League, and then obviously he was here with the Erie Otters. It's been great to see that evolution of a coach and what he's been able to do. Obviously, Erie's was in a development year this past year, and the overwhelming feedback that I kept hearing was how bright of a spot Keenan Reynolds was for them, and that's a testament to the staff that they have there with Dave Brown and Chris Millett, and giving him the proper resources, and Kenny as well, Kenny Puroff, for all the support that they were able to give somebody like Keenan Reynolds. So I think over the course of that time, it became clear that this is somebody that's ready to take that step. As we went through the interview process, things that are very critical to our development philosophy, we saw him checking those boxes off. And if you actually look at a history of head coaches in the National Hockey League, a lot of them have had a chance to start their careers early, and that's helped them. So there's actually a long list of successful coaches that have started early, and how do you get experience being a head coach without being a head coach? So we felt confident that he was ready to take that step, especially given the fact that he's done so much work academically and professionally, and has that relationship with players, knowledge of the league, shares our development philosophy. For us, it was a no-brainer.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because how often is there a coaching change in the NHL and you're just like, who are they going to pull off the scrap pile this time? Tortorella again. Okay. Tyler, is there anything about this? I mean, this is all new for you now. Anything that you're afraid of, or that makes you hesitant about the future, or anything that, less than a week already in this official role that's kind of kept you up at night at this point?
I don't think anything's kept me up at night. I think by the end of the night, I think I'm probably ready to get some rest and go to bed. So, it's been great. I think the expectation that we have for our players is to attack the day, and that's something that I think Keenan Reynolds has been very clear of through his communication on what he expects from our players. So I think I see things the exact same way. We've been attacking this process so far. I think that we're making really good ground on things that are important to us on the hockey and business ops side. We became acclimated very quickly. I think it's very important for us to be here and see the fans, and to have town halls like this, I think, has been excellent. And just seeing the engagement, even from the first time of being here, and somewhat strangers at the beginning, and feeling like things were on a good foot by the end of it, and spending all the time and taking all the questions from the fans afterwards, and then even after here today, speaking with them. Faces are starting to become more familiar, and it's exciting, and all we want to do is work tirelessly this summer, and like I said, attack the summer and attack the off season. So by the time that this team's ready to go in September, they're ready to do good work.
I kind of wish the puck would drop next season on the new season so that we could get this all going. But obviously there's some time and some things to still do. The draft obviously is, I'm sure, the biggest thing that is occupying your to-do list. But anything else on that to-do list that is going to take a pretty quick priority here in the next few weeks for you?
Yeah, I think that there's lots that has to go on right now. As I said before, there's hockey ops decisions that have to go on right now. It's meeting with our current roster and understanding, what they expect to see from us and hold us accountable, and then we'll be able to hold them accountable. And that principle is extremely important to us, is having a sense of accountability with no judgment. I think that that's something that is very important to myself, and I know it's important to Keenan Reynolds as well. At the end of the day, we want every single player here to be successful and help them find that version of success. So I think part of it is, really looking at our roster right now. We've got a draft that's coming up. We've got the import draft. So these are all things that I think we're excited about, and lots to work to do, but we're ready to do it. So we're excited for the puck to drop, but lots of things to do between now and then to make sure that we're in a good spot.
All right, I won't bug you with any more questions. You got lots of stuff to do between now and the draft. I will bug you at the draft, though. But Tyler, thanks for this, and congratulations, and happy to be working with you here at Owen Sound.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really looking forward to it.
Well, Owen Sound Attack fans, I think you got to be pretty excited about the future already. And I think you should be very excited about this new head coach. Yes, he's young, and no, he may not have a lot of experience as a head coach, but he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think you're going to learn more right now when you hear him talk. But there were, I guess, one thing that stood out for me in talking to Keenan today and getting to know a little bit more about him and just in kind of the off-air conversations with him. I brought up a question, or at least I referenced a couple of times, half jokingly, about like yelling at players. Now, that was not a reference to the previous coaching staff at all. I don't know that relationship. I more so mean it as there's a shift in sports that has happened. And actually, there's several shifts in sports that have happened. There's the business side of sports, which now you're seeing at the professional level, all kinds of money being spent, and now sports is getting into streaming, and there's more profit generation happening, and it's crazy, which is why you're starting to see rich wealth fund companies and private equity sources get into sports at the big level, and yes, now at the small level, like the Canadian Hockey League. So yeah, that's happening in sports. The shift to analytics and stats has been huge in the last 10 years. It just, every year, more and more focus gets put onto that side of the game and less on the X's and O's, I guess you could say, and more on the statistics and the thinking and the theory behind it. And you're going to see that continue to grow at a massive rate, which is part of what these guys coming in to take over the team are about. They're in that new school statistics-driven decision-making. And then the other shift in sports, I feel like this, and anybody that's played the game will kind of understand what I mean by this, but there's a shift in sports where you have that old school mentality of, yes, yelling and making players like, really hammering it in their heads when they make a mistake, and a lot of that's done through yelling and intimidation. And then you do have the new school approach, which uses that stats thinking primarily, and then also takes the approach of, treat people, players, like humans. Like the Ted Lasso approach. Yeah, exactly. So that's those two styles, the new and the old, are very much in conflict with each other. And I'm sure most of the Owen Sound Attack players have probably played for both types at this point in their career. They've probably seen them both. They probably know which type of coaching they respond to and are best when they're under it. So, and I say all this because very clearly, and on a couple of times, I almost feel like Keenan was trying to get me to realize I'm not that old school guy. I am the new school. We're talking it out. I'm close in age to these guys. They are people, and we're going to get the most out of them that we possibly can by changing the way that we approach them and the game and coaching. So there you go. I think it's a new school shift, and I think it needs to happen in sports. I don't think that the old way was the best way, and certainly, and you know this if you've been following hockey the last few years, that anytime something negative happens in the game, that I guess a pretty high profile example would be the Hockey Canada story out of London. So that would be an example, and that unfortunately paints every single player in the game as that. And that's not factual. And in fact, having hung around a junior hockey team the last few years, I look at that and wonder, how does something like that happen? Because these kids that I know here are not that. So it's unfair that they all get painted with the same brush. But again, that's part of that old school thinking and philosophy. And if something goes bad, we look out for you and protect you, and we keep it in all that's got to go away. And it has been going away. The game is changing every single day. But it just looks like this, to me, and it's a good thing, is an ushering in of that new way of thinking and the new approach. And until I see an example of this not being successful, all I can think of is this is going to work great. So I'm excited about it. I think it's the right change at just the right time for Owen Sound. And I realize I've rambled a little bit for the last couple of minutes, but that's just, I'm impressed with Keenan Reynolds. And I'm going to be quiet now and let him impress you even more with his responses to my dumb questions. Here's me one-on-one with Keenan Reynolds after the press conference earlier today. Keenan, there's a tradition on this podcast. Anytime someone's on for the first time, they get the same 2 questions. Where did you grow up, and what first made you fall in love with hockey?
I grew up in Ottawa, Ontario. Well, about 45 minutes outside of Ottawa, a little town called Curran or Bourget. Played my minor hockey for the Clarence Creek Senators, then the Eastern Ontario Cobras, then the Eastern Ontario Wild, Ottawa Junior 67s, and then obviously came the Owen Sound Attack. And then I fell in love with it. My family had a pretty traditional childhood. Used to have a backyard rink in the back. Had an older brother that you know from your time at Algonquin College in the radio broadcasting program led by Dan Mellon that played, and I just wanted to be around my big brother when I was younger, and I'd chase him around, probably annoyed the heck out of him, but that's where I fell in love with the game, and all these years later, that love is still burning pretty hot.
Yeah, it's funny that I think now I might call you Dave by accident every now and then because that's your brother's name. So that's kind of a cool connection. And a Smiths Falls boy, by the way, so make fun of me for that anytime you want. I guess, first of all, at the age that you're at, being a coach in the OHL, it's never happened before. You're the youngest ever, 18th head coach in Owen Sound Attack franchise history. Just hearing that out loud, I'm sure, must make you have to almost pinch yourself a little bit going, wow, this is not a typical path that former players go down.
Yeah, I think I saw that earlier today and surprised me a little bit. I know that there's been a couple other young coaches. Paul McFarlane, I think most recently was 28 when he got the job in Kingston. He's done a great job, and I think he's on the staff of the Edmonton Oilers. Another OHL alumni coach, Chris Knobloch, just obviously was let go there, and alumni of the Erie Otters organization where I was. But yeah, it's obviously a tremendous privilege. In a lot of ways, it feels right with how my career went here. I had some unfinished business, and I like to think that maybe my success with this organization was just deferred a little bit. And it's my plan to bring a championship back to this team and this fan base and this region because it deserves it.
Last year, an assistant in Erie, so you do have a little bit of time on a bench at this level before. Tell me, the fact that you're young and you're not that far removed from having played in this league, that's got to make it a lot easier to talk to these players and connect with them on a much better level than, if there's some dude in his 50s yelling at them, right? I mean, there's a disconnect there, but that's got to really help you, and you must be able to feel like you get your message through a little easier.
Yeah, well, I don't do a lot of yelling, at least not at the players. Maybe like communicating in a loud rink, I might yell a little bit, but I don't really believe in it. I don't think it's all that productive, especially with this modern generation. A lot of them just need to be empowered, motivated, right? And that's where I think my skill set lies. I also spent a year out in Acadie Bathurst with the Titan organization. Unfortunately, doesn't exist anymore. Relocated to Newfoundland, but learned a ton from that staff there. That was my introduction to major junior coaching, and it's funny thinking back to the person, the coach I am now compared to when I first arrived with Gordie Dwyer's staff, who's a tremendous mentor and coach that I was fortunate to learn from. It's been a transformational experience, and if you had asked me then in 2 years would I have been ready for this, I would have said no, but in my heart of hearts I know how important that this position is, and I wouldn't have taken it if I didn't feel as though I was the best candidate for this job. And it's my commitment to this community and the players on this team that I'm going to put them in the position to do exactly what we want to do this year, which is contend for a championship and bring one home to Owen Sound.
To work with a president and governor who is about your age, and you guys know each other from your past, I'm sure that means that there's probably going to be that extra level of accountability and knowing that, hey, your success and your failure, you're tied together. So obviously there's maybe even a little bit more pressure there for you to do well, you and Tyler. But tell me how that relationship, how you think that's an advantage to have working together now and running this team together?
Yeah, I mean, pressure's a privilege. It's a cliche, but you mentioned it. There's not a lot of people in the past that have been put in the position that I'm being put in, and I appreciate Tyler tremendously for going through his process. He spoke to, by all accounts, some really talented people, and the direction that he wanted to take the organization, I guess he felt like I was the best fit for, and once again, I believe I am the best fit for. So Tyler and I, we don't go back as far as people think. We missed each other at the Smith School of Business by 2 years, but when I first got on campus, it felt like all the professors and teachers were telling us that we had to connect. It began in a very nice way as a professional relationship with him being a player agent and me being an aspiring coach. I had worked with some of his clients in a skill development capacity, and the more we started speaking, the more we realized how aligned we were on values and how, if an opportunity ever came about, it'd be really cool for us to work together. I think it was more so, again, with an agent coach capacity at that time, but when this opportunity arose and he came to me, I went through the interview process. I think I really impressed him, not personally but professionally, with what I was able to put together and showcase in terms of what I want to build with this organization. And once again, I think he made the right decision.
You're going to be working with Brandon Shaw on the bench. Shawzy was here today for people that didn't watch the press conference, but glad to have him here. And he is a good guy, and actually the other outgoing guys were good guys too. It's just sometimes things don't work out, and you have to make a change in a business that's based on.
Speak to that, yeah.
Absolutely, sure.
I had the chance to meet Regan and Razor last year. Both of them talented coaches in their own right, and unfortunately, this business, sometimes there's people that move on, and doesn't mean that they're not fantastic coaches, and I wish them nothing but the best in their future endeavors, and I know that they're going to be successful, and whichever team picks them up next can be really lucky.
Absolutely, but that does leave an opening on the bench. You've got some decisions to make. What do you think you'd be looking for in that role, and what kind of a coach are you looking for to fill that spot that's open?
Are you pitching me?
Listen, I'm more of an offensive guy. I've run power plays. My experience is limited pretty much to U13 and house league. So I don't think I'm more of a Ted Lasso type than an X's and O's type. I'll put it at that. But I wouldn't turn you down. But for an actual candidate, though, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I think, again, bringing it back to the values, I think we're going to be a value-based organization going forwards. The TIGA, the TIGA of teamwork, team first, integrity, growth mindset, and accountability are going to be the core tenets that we're looking for. But I also want to surround myself with people that have head coaching experience to insulate myself. I don't have the hubris to think that I have it all figured out, but what I do know about myself is I'm very talented at empowering people around me to be at their best and bringing a relentless positivity to the rink every single day, which is what I think this team needs. We're gonna look to bring in the best candidate possible, and we're gonna go through our process. We're gonna make sure that all candidates are vetted not only through their previous coaching references but also player references. I think consulting former players on coaches is really important. And I'm guaranteeing that the person that we bring in is going to be someone that the Owen Sound community is going to be really proud to be bringing in. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
I think you had a chance to talk to Pierce Bowie, the captain, already. And
very impressive kid, I might add. What he's been through adversity-wise in his life, both personally and on the ice. He's someone who I was consistently amazed at how effective he was last year. I heard the Bowie chants way too often, but turning around to this upcoming season, I think he's a guy that could contend not only for the OHL goal-scoring leader, but also the CHL goal-scoring leader, and he's someone who we expect to have a huge season and ideally play in the Canadian World Junior team as well, because I think he's someone that deserves that opportunity, at least to contend for that spot.
That news is obviously going to help settle a lot of Attack fans because they've heard the Penn State thing and they're worried that there was something that happened here last year that made not just Pierce but a number of players maybe not feel great and maybe start to look to greener pastures. Sounds like Pierce is committed. but I'm just curious if you had a chance to talk to any other players at this point. I know it's all new, so it's not your fault if you haven't. You get time, but just kind of to that effect, have you heard anything about that last year, or anything already that you're kind of looking forward to? As in, you know what, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. Has anything like that happened yet?
Yeah, so candidly, it's been a whirlwind since I formally accepted the position. Wasn't all that long ago, and I think first and foremost, it was about making sure that I was ready for this press conference and this town hall. I wanted to make sure I was prepared for all the questions I knew I was going to be asked, and I feel really good about how that went. Within that press conference, I referenced what my first steps were going to be, which is reaching out to the players and having a candid conversation with them, transparently asking what went right last year, what went wrong, how can we put you in a position this summer and for next season to be at your best when you report back to camp. And throughout those conversations, I'm sure we're going to be able to figure out exactly what this organization needs for the future. And I'm quite frankly excited to do it. I've already coached a couple players on the team in the past. Wes Royston, namely, last year. I coached him briefly in Erie. Fantastic kid, and he's going to be a catalyst for our team in terms of the competitiveness that I referenced. He's a guy that every single day shows up to the rink ready to go, and when the puck drops, he's a gamer, and he's going to be a very formidable player for other teams to deal with. You want to talk about defending home ice, he's willing to do that. Harry Nancy, another player I coached in his OHL Draft year. It's been amazing to see the development that he's been fortunate enough to have over the past couple of years, starting as a 16-year-old and now last year as an 18-year-old, almost being a point-per-game player at this level after being selected by the Toronto Maple Leafs, which, you know, my heart was so full when I saw that because he works his butt off. And he's going to be a guy, again, you want to talk about Pierce scoring a ton of goals. Harry, the expectation is he's going to be putting up a lot of points and then also rounding out his game. So wherever he wants to take his talents to next after Owen Sound, the coaching staff there has full trust in his abilities to get the job done. There's more guys. I've worked with the Delisle brothers in skill development capacity. I've worked with a lot of guys in skill development capacity in this league. And I think I'm just very humbled. I've already seen a couple players reach out, former players from Erie and Bathurst and Nepean and players I've worked with in skill development. It means the world to me to know that they think highly of me, and having them all reach out and congratulate me is why I got into this, right? It's to make sure that players know that at the end of the day they have a coach that cares about them and is going to put them in positions to succeed. And when they fail, it's going to be there to help pick them up, dust them off, and get them back on their way.
I know your playing days weren't long ago, and you didn't play.
Doesn't feel like that.
Doesn't feel like it.
Quite a bit of time. A pandemic, global crisis. Some crazy things have gone on since, but yeah, it hasn't been that long overall.
Well, I'm sure that there were more than a few familiar faces when you looked out in the crowd today. I know your billet parents were here. Dave Cruikshank, the president of the fan club, came up and he handed you your button from when you were a player. You got it? Yeah. They still make them exactly the same today. For sale at the Attack Pack booth, by the way. There it is.
I'm going to sell this on eBay for $2,000. You guys reach out.
It'll be worth more if you sign it. But, just that familiarity, and to see, there was even, I saw Tracy had your old jersey on, one of the Hockey Fights Cancer jerseys, I believe. Just seeing it's got to feel like coming home to a certain extent, knowing that how close this community is, and it also must give you a little bit of excitement for players that you're going to bring here and go, just wait till you play in Owen Sound.
Yeah, I mean, I referenced it during the press conference. I think for a long time there's been some slander towards Owen Sound as a place players don't want to come, and yet, I mean, I've kind of branched out into the professional world over the past couple of years, and it seems like everybody that's got some spare money and they're looking to get a cottage, they either want to go to Huntsville in the Muskokas or move to Owen Sound, live on the water up near Cobble Beach. So this is a destination location for people that have the means to acquire a second property, and what we're going to be able to provide for these players, the opportunity to play in a really unique environment where the community is so tight-knit, and you're going to feel like you're in the mini NHL. And the other nice thing is, hey, if you want that big Showtime experience in the Midwest Division, we've got London, we've got Kitchener, we've got Erie, which is a fantastic spot, and we've got Guelph, who's hosting the Memorial Cup next year. And then extrapolating that out, we got, in the other division, we got Windsor. It's a fantastic organization. There's so many teams in this league where the home ice experience can be amazing, but then every time you go on the road, there's no easy games. And players are going to be able to showcase their talents in front of thousands of people, supporting fans, and it's going to be an amazing time for the future generation in this new era of Owen Sound Attack hockey.
Are you moving here, buying a house here? Are you bringing a family here with you? What's the situation with the fam?
Yeah, so not buying a house just yet. That might be down the road here. Definitely going to be moving here. It'd be a tough commute from Ottawa, but in terms of family, I have a beautiful girlfriend, Bryn Powell. She's been my rock throughout this process. She's been with me since U18. She's in Amsterdam with her friends right now. Hi, Bryn. I'm sure she's going to be watching this. And then she's going to be coming down. She works at the Canadian Olympic Committee in Toronto. She's been to 2 Olympics, or worked on 1 Olympics, just got back from Milan this past year, and she's a budding superstar in her career too. So I'm sure she'll be coming down with my parents to support as much as she can. And then I think that first game back in Ottawa is going to be a heavily trafficked one because, again, it takes a village to raise someone, and I'm only the sum of so many people that have provided me with opportunities and empowered me to be at my best. And I'm so thankful for the fact that I'm standing here talking to you now. And are you going to be coming down for the Ottawa game?
Oh yeah, last year I went. I actually did the road trip because I can just stay at home with mom and dad.
There you go. Well, some good home cooked meals is never a bad thing, and we're going to try to get TD Place rocking for the Owen Sound Attack. We'll put it that way.
And I think did I hear correctly during the press conference that your mother's been on Jeopardy twice? Did I hear that?
Yeah, twice. So unfortunately, maybe the intelligence missed a generation here. My brother's a pretty smart guy. Just kidding, obviously. But yeah, my parents have been unbelievable for me throughout this process. My dad and my mom, obviously, it wasn't easy what I went through in Owen Sound when I was here last time. And you never want to see your kid kind of have a dream not get accomplished, to put it mildly. And they were so helpful for me. They came up probably more than they needed to. They love watching the Attack play, love supporting the Attack. My mom was a social butterfly all over the concourse. I'm sure people are going to be super excited to see her again. But yeah, she won, or she didn't. She was able to secure her spot on Jeopardy. I think the test is 40 questions. You can take it once a year. I think she got like 37 out of 40, which is crazy because it's general knowledge, right? Like I'm pretty good at trivia in some categories, but she's read 10,000 books, and she in a lot of ways has prepared me for this because when I was younger, she always told me to seek out information and to reference Ted Lasso, right? Be curious, not judgmental. So, and then my dad, he sacrificed a lot for my family. He works at the National Arts Center, like I said previously, and he's the stage manager in the opera, and it's a really important job, and he's one of the best in the world at what he does. And to see kind of what he did and the work ethic he had to put our family in a position where I could, play hockey at a high level and go out and try to accomplish my dreams and have it not work out, and to have their support this whole time throughout this process on my coaching journey. It's going to be a really special moment when they're here for the home opener. And then my brother too, like I referenced. It's really special to have someone, who's 6 years older than me, probably could have been a lot meaner to me as a kid. I know I was super annoying, for sure. You can tell I like talking, but he's someone that has always supported me, and he's absolutely crushing his own career. And he was also a high-level referee, so I think as a head coach, at one point I'm going to have to pull him aside and be like, okay, what are the inside knowledge, or what's the inside knowledge I need to know in order to make sure that these refs know I'm on their side, and I know it's a tough job. And again, I'm not really a yeller unless I need to and the situation calls for it, but I think that's it's going to be a really cool moment when they're back here at Owen Sound for the home opener, watching me be the head coach of the Owen Sound Attack.
I did recall that your brother is a ref. I was going to say there might be a few times you want to see him here for a home game and maybe throw the stripes on based on what we had last year, but we won't go into that. Keenan, great to meet you. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement here. It's a really cool journey you've been on. It's kind of come full circle, and there's still a lot to go. So I know there's a lot to do. We'll probably see you at the draft, and I know it's going to be a busy summer for you, but on behalf of the Owen Sound Attack fans, all the best to you, man. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. And last of all, I'm going to reiterate it. It's my goal to create an environment where our players are, they feel empowered to come to the rink every day with joy, to compete, to get better, and turtle competition is going to be a huge aspect of what we're doing going forwards. And ultimately, our goal is to win OHL championships and Memorial Cup. So that's my commitment to you. That's my commitment to the fans, this community, and this organization. Let's get started.
All right, well, there you have it. Another episode of the Bear Tracker Weekly Podcast comes to an end. I don't know if there's a press conference next week or not yet. I don't even know what it would be for, but if there is one, we'll be there. We'll wait and see. But as of right now, no more scheduled press conferences. If there is one, we'll cover it. We'll have the story for you. Of course, our colleagues and our fellows from the media room, Greg Cowan and Matt Hermes, will be covering any other changes that pop up as well. 89.3 CFOS, Owen Sound Sun Times. Make sure you follow them for more Attack coverage. And that'll do it. Again, not planning on any more episodes until the draft, unless something happens. But we'll see you at the OHL Draft. Keep your eyes on attackhockey.com for any details on anything around the team, any other events, draft-related events, year-end barbecue, all of that stuff, attackhockey.com. That's it. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Keenan. Looking forward to a great season. Wish it started next week. We're still going to have to wait a couple months, but I think a lot more to be excited about. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get this podcast, wherever you listen to it. If you watch it on YouTube, you'll get notifications as soon as new content is published, and you'll be the first to know that way. And I think we're going to stick to like these press conferences and town hall type events that the Attack do, doing the live stream thing on our Facebook page. I think we'll stick with that. We've got a lot of people that really do appreciate that and can't always be at these events because of work and other obligations. So we'll do our best to continue to make sure that you still get to see them and be a part of them in some way. So lots to look forward to. Signing off for the day. Have a great night, Attack fans. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Remember to like, follow, and subscribe at Bear Tracker Pod on social media and wherever you get your podcasts.